if they want to.
And welcome to Let Them Talk. I'm Paul DiRienzo.
And I'm Miss Joan Marie Musi.
And our guest is Vanissa Chan, who's going to talk to us about Haiti, and she's going to talk to us a little bit later about police brutality, which, and you'll see why such a young, energetic activist such as this has really done so much, you know, and we really appreciate that, and looking forward to seeing it and seeing your photographs, which are fantastic photographs. And you were also a teacher, so you're a very multi-talented person. You were a New York City public school teacher, a tough job under any circumstance.
Yeah.
And you learned, as I did, that that nothing is rosy.
We were being forced as teachers to test them on a regular basis, you know, asking them to do work that they weren't capable of doing.
Sure.
So it's like...
It's very disillusioning after a while, right?
It's very damaging to their self-esteem. So
Yes.
if you can imagine taking a test that's like 3 hours long in a completely different language, in a language that you don't know, that's what these kids had to face.
Yes.
And there was no way around it. It's state law, you know, and there's no, you have to be very, very, very severely, I don't want to say the word retarded, but you have to be severely, severely struggling in order to get exempt from this exam, or these exams, these state exams.
Right.
And there's many of them. And then there's these pre-tests and these practice tests throughout
That's
the
all
whole
you do,
year.
right?
Right.
It's crazy. I know. It
So-
didn't seem really like you were doing much educating in that
Right.
job.
I was doing a disservice to children.
Right.
But by being a
So that took a lot of courage to leave, because that's a career that you have to do a lot to get.
Right. Right.
So
I
to
went
take
get
that
my
choice.
master's degree and everything. Yeah.
Right. Right. So you took
And
the choice to walk away
it's
from
also a very stable career, so you know, you take a risk to go into photography and being a documentarian. I mean,
Right.
Now, we've met among several different issues, including the police brutality issue. We had a number of shows, but I just really saw you and got the idea for this show after I saw the Haiti Solidarity event that was at the Yippie Cafe over at 9 Bleecker Street, and you called it, am I pronouncing it right, L'école?
L'école.
And what does L'école mean?
L'école is a school in Haitian Creole.
Great. And this is to build a school.
Well, it's the first part of the fundraiser is to raise enough funds to send Peterson and Schneider, who are two brothers, Haitian brothers, living in Port-au-Prince, back to school. And then once we raise the funds for that, then we're going to put our efforts into raising money to build an earthship.
An earthship, right. I saw the video. That was interesting, an earthship, and that is a self-sufficient sort of structure. Or
right, it's sustainable.
Sustainable,
yeah, fully
right?
sustainable housing, basically, or structure.
Sure.
Could be used for anything, really. And it's made out of recycled materials like tires and recycled bottles, plastic bottles, glass bottles.
And now tell us about what's going on in Haiti right now, because how long has it been since the earthquake? And
okay, so I guess, I mean, this kind of goes into what we can talk about in terms of the work that we're doing there. Part of the reason why we're having this series of events called L'école is because we want people who are not necessarily just Haitians, but also people who are interested in doing work in Haiti or understanding what's happening in Haiti, to understand the historical and political context of Haiti, instead of just, you know, thinking, oh, these are poor people and we're going to go there and service them, and, you know, without any background knowledge at all. And that's what we see. That's what we're seeing. The current situation in Haiti is there's like 30,000 NGOs.
Relief people,
right? And they're really not doing anything. I don't want to say all of them are not doing anything, but
well, even sincere efforts can be misplaced. And, you know,
that's exactly the case. Yeah.
Right.
So, so do you want to play the?
Yeah, you want to go and transfer? Let's
we'll be able
watch
to
the slideshow, and you can talk through it and describe it as we go along. Okay, great.
Well, see, one of the interesting things, like we did some shows about Katrina long after it, and you know, once it's out of the news, it's fairly forgotten, but really the needs still exist.
So we're going to begin. We're actually showing the videos right now on the screen. So we're going to go, and I'm pressing the slideshow. Tell us what we're looking at now.
Sure. So these are some photos that I took on 2 of my trips to Haiti, one in December of 2010 and then this past July. So these are photos of that. Right there was an artist who was living in a tent community.
So these are people that haven't got like a standing house. They're living in tents.
Right.
Here, right here.
Yeah. That artist in particular, we've been sending him brushes and supplies whenever we can. But you know, when we went to visit the tent communities in Port-au-Prince and outside of Port-au-Prince, what we saw were just people just really, you know, continuing their life as they had been before the earthquake, and you know, artists like himself were just they set up a tent and they set up shop and just
like this,
painted every day.
Now,
And children are, you know, a lot of children, they don't, you know, they're very happy, you know, because they're children, you know, and but they also understand the struggle. They're constantly looking for water and they're looking for food, and
what about disease? Like afterwards, of course, there were so many problems because of the water supply and all of that. Like, what are the medical conditions?
What is this here we're looking at, by the way?
Okay, so this is a structure that in one of the tent communities, it's called in Canard, Haiti, which is a little bit outside of Port-au-Prince. And in the center there is Oja, my partner, who's interviewing community leaders in that particular tent community. What we've been doing is we've been gathering oral histories of the people there, and when we come back, we translate them and put them with visuals and put them together so that people can see the visuals with the and hear the audio as well, so that their stories can be told. We kind of bumped into a little bit of translation issues because we don't always have access to translating.
But you do the best you can in Creole. How's your Creole?
My Creole isn't very good. Not yet, anyway.
You just have the need to use it. Once you need to use it, then you learn fast.
This is a photo of the water structure the water supply structure in Canard, Haiti.
And where do people get the water now?
They probably, I'm not exactly sure. I think a lot of it is like the mountain spring waters that come down from all the mountains they have there.
Sure.
But the water supply was found to be contaminated by the UN troops from Nepal. That was a serious case. I think it was like, what, April of 2000?
Right, I remember hearing about that,
11,
and what happened here?
Right, well, there was some problem with the UN troops who were there. They were generally...
And they're still there.
Right, not treating people with respect and pretty much just putting up things.
But what about contaminating the water?
Yeah, well, there was evidence of... there's direct evidence that the cholera actually came from a Nepalese soldier.
Oh, wow,
and I'm not
so
sure
sad.
if it's that this person was sick and he was in Nepal and brought it over to Haiti, or if there was actual, like, deliberate, you know, contamination.
There was some belief there in Haiti that this might have been deliberate.
There's a lot of belief of that.
Yeah.
If you look at the graffiti on the walls all throughout Port-au-Prince, it's
an ongoing theme.
Yeah, it's that cholera is everywhere. The UN and cholera are the same thing. You know, they brought it here. So, yeah, the people are very conscious of...
So what are we looking at now? College mix?
Okay, this is a school.
Yeah.
And that's a photo of children that have gone missing since the earthquake. A lot of children went missing, and there were a couple of missionaries.
Now, how long ago was the earthquake?
January 12th, 2010.
2010, okay, so we're going on a year.
Second year.
Yeah, 2 years.
Second year, yeah.
In just a couple of weeks, so this is apropos. And
yeah, it's a long recovery from something like this. It's not instant, you know.
And this is some of the ways that people are living right now, like in this kind of...
Right, well, in this particular community, and I can only talk about it loosely because I don't have the details.
You were here, you took these pictures.
I did.
You were there.
I was there, but I didn't hear the stories in Creole,
how long did you spend there?
This first trip, I was only there for a few days because I got sick.
Yeah.
And so I flew back.
You had to come home,
Yeah, New Year's. But I spent 2 weeks there this past summer in the same community.
And you have plans to go back?
Yeah. This particular picture is actually, it's very interesting. It's very telling because you can see the structure of what the structure is made out of. Basically, this wood that they've collected. And there was a leader in that community who had access to more supplies, and he was arrested by I don't know who, authorities or whatever. So, like I said, I can only talk
for hoarding
about
things,
that.
or
well, we don't really know why, but we just know that he had intended to, he or she, I don't know, had intended to build in this community. But it's just a direct example of how the people that have been displaced are being directly oppressed by the authorities. When I went back in July, the community that I was in was in the middle of being evicted.
Oh dear.
By the UN and by OIM, Office of Immigrant Migration.
Evicted from the land where they were staying.
Right.
And where they were told to go.
they were
You're
not
on your
given
own.
any. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
not given
Just-
any information. There was an NGO that was, I guess, in charge of shipping them somewhere
Sure.
and building structures for them. But you know, since it's an NGO and these things are so hard to follow, you know, it's everything's so
You
covert.
don't know what
you know?
happens to people.
So
yeah.
right, exactly, and the
It's
people
scary.
from that community want to stay in that community
Mhm.
Of
because
course.
that's where they're from.
It's the stability, yeah.
Right. So
Um,
okay,
very
here's another beautiful,
unstable
more beautiful
situation.
shots of people, families, smiling children.
Right. Well, this
Beautiful.
summer I covered a clinic, a four-day mobile clinic that was run by Funto Salud International. It's funtosaludintl.org and the Haitian Coalition, which is a Haitian coalition up in Boston, or I'm sorry, Somerville, Massachusetts. And they grouped together and formed a four-day.
So this is in a tent right here. I mean,
Yes,
this is somebody living in a tent right
Right.
now.
That's
That's the clinic.
right. No, that's not the clinic.
Oh,
That's
it's
the
not,
tent.
okay.
That's Rosalind, who has 6 children
Wow.
of her own, and this is one of her newest son, her latest son, and she has to survive on a daily basis. It's very, very hot, especially in those tents.
Now this
It's
looks
very
like a
I
hot.
clinic.
bet, yeah.
Yeah, that was the clinic, the one before.
Yeah, okay, let's go back one then. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Here's the clinic.
Yeah.
This poor kid, he's getting it and
Aw.
everything. He's got the patches, he's got the
Poor
thing in his mouth,
thing.
he's got the blood pressure gauge.
That's his name is Edgerson. He's a very sweet boy. He was following me everywhere with a bunch of other
Aw.
kids.
Mhm.
But he was very concerned for his own health. And the story of that day was that he didn't have an adult to go with him to see the doctor. And the doctors wouldn't see him without an adult because, you know, there's liability issues. Like if they give him medication, then they have
Sure.
to make sure that he's taking it. So I ended up stopping everything and just going to the tent community with him because I was concerned, what if he was an
Sure.
orphan and he
Right.
just didn't feel comfortable with saying that his parents weren't around.
I don't know where they are.
And
Right?
so we found an elder who decided to take him and bring him to see the doctor. So
Sure. Oh,
Yeah.
great. All right, and then are these Haitian doctors or are they aid doctors?
that's Barbara Ham, a volunteer with the Haitian Coalition in
I
Somerville.
see. Okay.
This is Evelyn.
Now, did you go down with
you
the
know
group?
everybody
or?
here.
Right. Well, that's part of the work that we do as media artists is that we really try to get to know the communities that we work in. I really try not to show pictures where I can't give historical background of because, as you guys know, in this day and age, in this like vulture capitalist society, even someone who's a photojournalist might, you know, who's going and doing war photography or whatever, may actually be just as much of a mercenary as anyone else.
No
They
connection
might,
to
right,
the
no
people.
connection to
right.
the people. They might take pictures that they probably didn't have consent to take, especially in Haiti during the earthquake. I mean, I don't know how many hundreds of photographers.
No, I
were
heard
shipped
about
to
there
Haiti.
was a scene at one place where people started attacking the photographers saying, how dare you, we
Right.
need help digging people out.
Right, exactly.
Not taking pictures of us digging
Gruesome
people
pictures,
out.
right?
Right.
Yeah. Like they were actually yelling at the photographers, how
Right.
dare you put your camera down
Okay.
and start digging, there's living
So you know-
people.
That's a Haitian doctor.
That's a Haitian doctor
Yeah,
there.
she helped
Great.
organize the Haitian doctors that were there for the
Uh-huh.
4-day mobile clinic. I think all the doctors.
Is
well,
she from Haiti or did she come from?
No, she's from Haiti.
Oh, wow.
She lives in Haiti. Yeah, most
Now
of the
give us
doctors that
the,
we worked with were Haitian.
Give us the website of the documentarian group that you work with, the media group.
Okay, so our blog is acdmedia.wordpress.com.
Okay.
And the organizations that,
Sort of a coalition of people.
well, the organization that organized the mobile clinic were Funto Salud International,
Oh, yes.
which is Funto Salud, FUNTOSALUDINTL.org, and then the Haitian Coalition, which is Haitian, there's the
Hyphen? Yeah.
coalition.org.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. And those things you can just like, usually just Google them.
could
and-
just
Yeah,
Google
you'll
them
find
and
them
find
exactly,
up.
but just to
All right.
keep people.
So here's a tent city right here, right?
Right,
Okay.
And how long have people been living in these tent cities? I mean, is this since
Since
the
the
earthquake?
earthquake.
Okay, so going on 2 years.
Right. And like I said before, the authorities have been, like the mayor,
Yeah.
back in December,
Mm-hmm.
or was it this past December? I can't remember when it was. It was earlier this past year, 2011. I guess like probably March or something. There, the mayor of Port-au-Prince was just going in with his police and just violently evicting people from their tents. And so the $9 billion of foreign aid to Haiti from around the world, like where did that money go? You know, and you know, that's part of
and
the
where did it
issue.
go? To administrative costs? Or?
Well, a lot of these NGOs are, I mean, you know, they're NGOs, so it's not like they have to be transparent with their budget, right? And but it's definitely not going to the people, you know, and that's one of the biggest issues, you know, and that's why we're going there to work with the communities there, because we're trying to shine light upon their situation and how, you know, these are people that have been displaced by the earthquake, lost family members, children that have been
multiply
orphaned,
traumatized.
but then at the same time, as they're trying to survive in these tents, they're even getting kicked out of those tents.
Right.
You know,
it's not enough.
Right. So
well, these are some beautiful pictures.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very nicely done.
Thank you. Currently, we're raising funds through selling some of my work through the website, so that we can raise funds for two young Haitian brothers, Peterson and Schneider, who live in Port-au-Prince. Schneider almost lost his life from the earthquake. His school pretty much fell on top of him, but he miraculously he survived.
Good for him.
And we're trying to get them to go back to school. Peterson.
Okay. What age are these kids?
I think Peterson is 19 and Schneider is 23,
oh,
or maybe
so young
Peterson
adults.
might be 21. Yeah, 21. And Peterson has these dreams of becoming a medical doctor, and you know, Cuba has that great program. Right, so we want to encourage him and get him to...
And how are you raising these funds? You're selling some of your work? And
selling some of my work, and then taking donations through the website, acdmedia.wordpress.com. Okay. We're probably going to start a Kickstarter as well. And then we're having the series of Lecole
Similar to the one that we saw at the Yippie Museum Cafe a few weeks ago. And beautiful, you took both of these pictures that are superimposed over each other.
Right, yes.
Nice job.
Thank
really
you.
Beautiful pictures. Okay, so we're only about 8 minutes left, and I wanted to sort of change gears a little bit to the issue of police brutality, of which you're an expert and been following many cases here in New York. I mean, an expert not in that hopefully you've been a victim of such a thing, but that you know people who have, right?
Right.
And we went out to the Occupy Wall Street, and we saw some rough treatment of nonviolent peaceful protesters, and many folks who come to New York and were shocked by how they were treated at some of these protests, and some of the laws that were broken, really, by certain officers, not all. And but what many visitors to New York might not know is that this didn't just spring out of nowhere.
There's an unfortunate history of terrible brutality and killings by the police that have been documented over time.
Under color of law, using the power of the law to basically extract justice from people or to express one's own anger at people.
And we've done a lot of shows, so our audience certainly knows a lot of these specific stories.
Yeah. I found Occupy Wall Street to be a really great platform to speak to, I guess, because Occupy Wall Street has been predominantly a white activist movement.
Sure.
And I found it to be a great platform to start talking about the people of color issue of, as you guys saw in San Diego, there was that pepper spraying incident where the guy just went and just pepper sprayed everybody that was sitting there.
Pretty famous on the internet now.
I think that's UC San Diego, was it?
Yeah, I think something like that.
And you know, pepper spray is such a minor thing, and like
Davis, that's where it was.
UC Davis, that's
UC Davis, more in the north.
Right, and and people are getting killed on a regular basis, and children are getting arrested in urban communities by police on a daily basis. You know, so I found Occupy Wall Street to be a good platform to kind of bring that to the surface, to tell people that, guess what, okay, you're facing pepper spray now, but understand that communities of color have been facing murder and really
well, it was good. They really came out for October 22nd Day, which was nice to get that support for that day.
And hopefully that momentum keeps building.
Absolutely,
Now, I don't think we have enough time to play this tape all the way through, but we could play a minute or two of it. Maybe.
Sure,
we'll play a minute or two of it.
And it's about a good friend of ours, Nicholas Hayward, so the audience doesn't need too much background because we've had several shows with him.
Nicholas was a happy-go-lucky kid. He was a kid that, you know, he always tried to make people laugh. At Nicholas' funeral, a lot of the kids came there, you know, his teachers and the principal, and all of them had little short stories about Nicholas. My name is Nicholas Hayward Sr. I'm the father of 13-year-old Nicholas Hayward Jr., who was shot and killed in the Gowanus community, Balm Hill section of Brooklyn, September 27, 1994. He was playing with some friends of his. About 6 of them were playing a game of cops and robbers. They all had plastic toy guns. None of them looked anything like a real gun. I first became aware of it as far as the circumstances as to what happened from Charles Hines, the way he reported that there was a 911 call, shots fired in the building, and this officer, who was a black African-American rookie cop, he responded alone. And he said that the stairwell lighting was dim when he reached the 14th floor landing where the kids were at, and that things happened in a split second. He said the stairwell lighting was dim and things just happened very suddenly, and the officer just shot into the darkness and hit my son in the abdomen, and he died 8 hours later. Mind you, there were kids, the other kids that he was playing with said that when Nicholas seen the officer, he dropped the toy gun and he told the officer that we're only playing. The officer still fired and shot at Nicholas, killed him. In a deposition that was done on the officer stated that he was not on a 911 call, and that the stairwell lighting was not dimly lit, and that things did not happen in a split second. District Attorney Charles Hines never presented the case to a grand jury because of stairwell lighting being dim, things happen in a split second. The officer basically contradicted everything that, as far as Charles Hines' reasonings for closing and not presenting the case to a grand jury. Also, the kids that were there, he basically just disregarded their statements because the kids were all telling them that the cop just shot. He just shot. He didn't. Nicholas told him that, you know, we're only playing. He shot him anyway. But I mean, I've been fighting to get the case reopened.
Second part of the interview is Minnie going into the activist.
Well, that's pretty
Let's tell people how they can see this, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to see the rest after they've seen it.
They can go to your website to get a link to this.
Right, acdmedia.wordpress.com.
Yeah.
acdmedia.wordpress.com to see this and the other video and some of the photographs and videos that we've been showing in the program today. Vanissa Chen, thank you so much for coming.